From Bird Stadium on the campus of the University of Maryland at College Park, it's the men's Division I lacrosse championships with Johns Hopkins leading Syracuse 8-6 at halftime. I'm Tom Mees with Steve Elsbo. And Lee, let's take a look at the stats from the first half of play. And you'll see that Johns Hopkins is doing a very good job, especially in the area of face-offs, and that leads to ball control.
Quite a shocker. Ground ball, as you can see, is dead even. That controls the tempo of the transition game. Face-offs dominated by Hopkins. Shots a little bit Hopkins' edge, and of course Kesnick coming up big time. Extra man, both teams real effective. Nobody's missed yet.
Now, the nation's #1 lacrosse fan is in attendance here today at Bird Stadium. Vice President of the United States, Dan Quayle, whose son Tucker, we understand, is a high school lacrosse player in the state of Virginia. He's here taking in the action today.
Just saw Dickie Dell, the coach of Maryland, and he's looking at his son as a pretty good prospect.
All right, we hope the vice president enjoys what he sees today as we look at the Syracuse bench. A new feeling for them. First time they've ever trailed entering the third quarter of the season. On the other hand, Johns Hopkins, in the meeting of these two teams back on March 4th, held Syracuse scoreless in the third period.
It was 3-0 in the third period of that first matchup. I would definitely say this third quarter will tell us a lot about the mental attitude of the Syracuse team. We talked before, Tom, about how will this team react if they're behind. We don't know, but we'll find out.
Brad and Resman Pollock fight for the face-off to start the second half. Still a fight for it. It is out of bounds to whom? And they are pointing for Johns Hopkins.
And that was Gary Gate on the side again. I've got to say, as we look at Coach Simmons, Gary Gate looks a little lethargic to me, Tom. He doesn't have the intensity. He's sort of playing, going through the motions, waiting for something to happen. This guy makes things happen. They need Gary Gate to step up and start playing with his brother.
So Johns Hopkins controls the ball to start the second half, and this is Jeff Eim working against number 32, Mark Stolfer. Eim gets a pick, but Stolfer gets around it. Pick was from Panetta. Eim will have to pass off.
Panetta with a great first half. They've switched now, put McCabe against Panetta.
Brendan Kelly shot to save.
McCabe is more of a, right there with the ball. McCabe is a takeaway player. He'll strip a player, and Stouffer is more of a position player. They started with Stouffer, the position man, against Panetta. Panetta got 4 goals. Now you've got McCabe, the better athlete, the quicker stick, matched up against the fabulous Matt Panetta.
Balaam with the ball. Passes out to his left to Pat McCabe. McCabe, long pass intended for Andrew Boland. He gets in, and he's on the run. Here comes Boland. Didn't play too much in that first half.
You're going to have to get some fresh legs in. There's a lot of heat out there, and both teams really burned up in the first period.
Marichek's pass intended for number 19, Paul Gate. Misconnects, and here comes Hopkins. This is Dressel. Dressel's got Eim on his right. Takes the shot, and the save by Balaam. It's out of the crease area, but scooped up by McCabe.
Balaam's a good goalie, not a great goalie like Kesnick, so he's got to come up with some great saves in the second half.
Gate behind the back, and the shot's a goal by Greg Burns, and give the assist to Paul Gate for the nice back pass to Burns.
Paul Gate is having the game of his career, quite possibly, and this is the Canadians behind the back. They don't have a right hand, but they don't need one. Right behind the back, that's as good as having an off hand right into the stick of Burns, and that made Kesnick go from the right pipe to the left pipe right here. Now Kesnick is moving from the right pipe to the left pipe. Right by the time he gets there, that rocket shot finds the mark.
So it's 8-7. Johns Hopkins on top, and they will not hold Syracuse scoreless in the third quarter of the national championship game.
You'll wipe out that stat right now.
13:30 left to go in the third quarter. Tom Mees and Lee Felsbo from College Park, Maryland. And we're sure we have a record crowd here for the finals today under beautiful conditions in the Chesapeake Bay country.
Tom, you talked about the halftime of each team and what it would be like in the locker room. You asked me, was Simmons a yeller? Was he getting on his team? I bet you there was more yelling in the team that had the 3-goal lead in Hopkins' locker room than there was in the Syracuse locker room for the half.
8-7 our score now.
I'm sorry, that team is just very intense and very, very dedicated to what they have to do, Hopkins.
I'm sure the players are used to hearing it from the coaches.
He plays every game as if he's in the game. Zimmerman does on the sideline.
It's the old scenario. You've seen the commercial with a football team that's up by 21 points at halftime, and the coach is yelling and screaming at him, and one guy speaks up. He says, hey.
Can't you thought we were ahead?
Meanwhile, here comes Syracuse on the run. Zilberti has it behind the net, gets it over to Burns.
Billy Dwan doing a fantastic job on Zilberti. Dwan, a real fabulous year against, a great year against the number 1 or 2 attackman right behind Petramala. Billy Dwan, number 28.
Dan Cahy, a junior from Homer, New York, with it. Circles all the way from one side of the field to the other and gets it over to Burns.
John down on
8-7. Johns Hopkins leading Syracuse for the moment. Earl Hall.
Petromalachek right there against Maricek.
Maricek's really been frustrated this game.
He has not been much of a factor. Got the one garbage goal, but he wants the ball a little bit more than that.
Greg Burns wants to cut in.
Good matchup against Ciccarone.
Zilberti's open for the moment, has no shot.
Dwan will not let him rest. That's Billy Dwan's strategy. He will go ahead there and beat him, try to take the ball away. And now Syracuse with possession of over 1 minute on the offense. That gets to be on the real long side for Syracuse, not for other teams, but this is a long series for them.
Earl Hall looking. Passes back out to Cahey. Gate brothers taking a rest right now.
This is the second unit. They'd like to go ahead and work the defense a little bit, loses the ball. They'd like to have Maricek, when he does get the ball, go ahead and run Petromalo a little bit, much like Zilberti tried to do in the first half. Tire him out.
Burns with it behind the net. Ciccarone on him, trying to force him wide, and does so. Burns wants to turn back the other way and get a shot away. Won't do it. Zilberti in front, and a score, number 1, Joe Bonacci.
Joe Bonacci's a transfer from the Naval Academy right over the horizon. He's no stranger, good talent, and you can tell right now, Tom, that Simmons told his players, slow down a little bit, get the good opportunities, and we can beat this fantastic goalie, Kesenic. And there you go against Vogel. He came in, a beautiful feed from behind from the great Z, and right in next to Kesenic, 2 goals in a row from the Orangemen.
So Joe Bonacci's first goal of the game ties it up at 8 with 11:01 left to go here in the third quarter, and they love it here in College Park.
Tom, again, the tempo. The one thing I can guarantee you was talked about in the Orangemen halftime was that, look, you don't have to rush. You don't have to score in the next 30 seconds. Calm the ball down enough for you to get your good shot. You guys are good finishers. You can score, but give yourself the opportunity with some good shots.
Ball goes out of bounds, and it will be possession to Syracuse. Coach Zimmerman of Johns Hopkins protests, but to no avail.
All right, a real good series here to start off the third period. One that we all know is the Achilles heel. Watch the hidden ball trick. Watch, this could be the hidden ball trick. Both Gate brothers standing together. One might pretend he's got it. The other one may take it. 19, Paul has the ball.
Yep.
Now they're both moving around like they each have it.
And Hopkins is not fooled.
Not fooled. No hidden ball trick here. Paul with the great first half. Carrying the ball.
Ball Gate moves in, got a shot, and shoots wide. And he's holding his head like, oh my goodness, I had the lead goal on my stick, and I shot it wide.
When they take their time, they make it look real easy, Tom. A big mismatch against Vogel, and that strong player, Paul Gate, went right by him and literally missed the 36 square feet, or else that would have been the third goal of the quarter.
Meanwhile, Maricek just mishandling the pass from Zilberti. Goes out of bounds. It'll be Johns Hopkins ball when we return. 10:39 left, third quarter. We're all tied up at 8 apiece.
As long as there have been barbecues, there have also been flare-ups. And as long as there have been flare-ups, man has invented ways to stop them. Now there's Charbroil with their new Flare Fighter grill. Its unique shutter grid puts the clamps on flare-ups with a flick of a wrist. Because you can't cook a great steak if it's on fire. Charbroil, we work best when the heat is on.
After that muff pass by Syracuse, Johns Hopkins take over. Kesenic up to Billy Dwan, and we start back the other way.
Nice start, though, for Syracuse. They could have had 3 goals in a row had they put that one on the net. Now let's see what Hopkins has done, if there's any changes for the second half.
Lucas. Pass back to Brendan Kelly. Penalty flag on the field. Kelly's shot bounces up and hits Palem. Makes a nice stop, and let's see what the penalty is. Offside call against Johns Hopkins.
Here's the shot, and Kelly, nobody on him, so Brendan just comes right in. He'll wait for the defense to come out in front of him. Hard shot against Palem. Palem comes up with a save. Again, it's very important for Palem. What's the call here, Tom?
Offside on Syracuse.
And that was with possession, so there will be a penalty. 30 seconds. Man-up opportunity. Good break for Hopkins.
So Hopkins with the extra man in an 8-8 game for the national championship. 10 minutes to go in the third quarter, and this is Panetta. And that is a goal by Jay Clark.
Well, they mixed things up. The first 2 goals they scored from out front on that corner, and this time they were in a 3-3. They snuck Panetta back to get attention. Watch Panetta get the attention, and then as soon as the defense slides to him, Jake Clark, number 19, slid into that hole. He slid into that area that was vacated and just dumped it past Palin. Right here, attention by Panetta. Here comes Jay Clark slashing into that open area, and Panetta finds the seam. That was a called play all the way on this extra man. Palin, a little bit sorry that he didn't get in front of that ball. First shot of the halftime and the first goal. Hopkins again still in control.
And the extra man pays off again for Johns Hopkins just seconds after the penalty was called.
Team that was absolutely worthless in the first game against these 2 teams. They were 0 for 5 in the first quarter extra man. They are on fire this game. And number 43, Mike McGee, who came in for Pratt late in the first half. That's a dominating face-off by Reza Pollock. Now he is controlling for the Great Orangemen.
Gary Gate with a number 22 cuts inside. Petramala gets the shot away. Petramala found him enough, however, to put the shot off the mark, and a whistle. I believe we're going to have an in-and-out call.
In the crease by Gate. Gary came in so close. He was really banking on all or nothing. He was banking on getting that goal. He knew he was too close. Tried to pull back, but Petramala gave him a little extra push. There's Gary Gate. He needs to wake up to put this game ahead as far as Syracuse fans are concerned. I haven't heard much from the Gary Gate, the great Air Gate of the twin brothers.
Shot in the semifinals last year against the University of Pennsylvania, and Quaker goalie is probably still wondering where the heck that came from.
Electrified the crowd. And Tom, the amazing thing was he didn't do it once, he did it twice. Once is amazing, twice is, as my daughter would say, more than amazing.
Well, he tried to do it against Maryland in the semifinal game here at College Park. It didn't succeed, and as I understand, he got in a little bit, as I remember, got a little bit of a shouting match with the Maryland defender.
Well, the Maryland defender was Mike McKenna.
Goaltender.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a vocal type.
Here comes Marichek as Kesselnick scrambles to get back in the goal. The pass in front, and a penalty flag is down as Syracuse couldn't connect on the passing. Let's see what happens here.
I'm going to guess Reza Pollock's going to be called for that penalty. It's going to be a slash on him. Here's the play. Good transition from Syracuse, looking to move it down. Watch Reza Pollock come sliding in. Reza Pollock's got to stop that play. Look at the all-or-nothing check on Reza Pollock. Runs him over, slashes him in the head, and they almost got the shot and goal anyway. Reza Pollock was called for the slash. Now it's extra man, Syracuse.
And in case you wonder, that is why they wear helmets in the sport of lacrosse.
No kidding. That was the time that you'll remember for a while. The last time they had an extra man situation, Zilberti came around and tried to force it in from the wing. They'd be better off going to the guns up front. Here's the 1-for-1 for Syracuse. They've got a lot of finishers. That's one of them, Gary Gate. That's one of them, Paul Gate. And the other one's on the far side. Right there, that's Marichek.
Marichek fakes the shot to Zilberti. Zilberti in front to Gate, and it's a score. Deflects in, gives the goal to Gary Gate.
He's on the board, and that'll make him feel a lot better. But how about the nonchalance Gary Gate shows? He hasn't seemed interested so far in this game to me. Watch here, they move the ball around. Right back out from Z. Z-Man sees Gary on the soft side of the zone, and Gary Gate just puts on the Jets. Bounce shot. Again, that turf is almost like AstroTurf. Very hard dirt. Gary Gate, first goal of the game.
Petramala tried to slide in to make the save there. I believe it deflected off somebody's stick, but it still had enough steam to get up in the net. Tied the game at 9. And again, we're going to have Mike McGee. I guess he'll take the face-offs for the rest of the way for Roy Simmons Jr. against Reza Pollock.
Reza Pollock's got to be getting a little bit tired, but here, when I say that, he comes up with the face-off.
And here he comes breaking in to Dressel. Dressel couldn't control. Maybe he wasn't expecting that pass.
Look at the stick work from Gary Gate. Gary plays the wings against Syracuse. So confident they use 2 of the regular middies, the Gate brothers, on the wings, not long 6. This is the other one. This is Paul.
Paul Gate working against Brian Volker. Paul Gate gets by Volker, cuts inside, almost put it in from a prone position, and another penalty flag is down. 8:24 left in the third quarter, and we're right where we began. 9 for Johns Hopkins, 9 for Syracuse. We'll be back with more great action in a moment.
Oh, my God! 12 cars wide.
It's uninterrupted, continuous coverage when pay-per-view cable TV puts you in the driver's seat for a 200-mile-per-hour chase to victory lane. 500 miles of high-speed drama with no commercial interruptions, so you won't be watching this.
When professional photographers have one shot to shoot the best, they make sure they use the best.
When you should be seeing the race.
And Bill Elliott.
Join Daytona 500 500 winner Darrell Waltrip, the King Richard Petty, and others in a thrilling chase to the checkered flag. Also, we'll have a call-in 800 number for you to ask questions of some of the 40 NASCAR drivers as they battle each other at Pocono. It's the Miller 500.